Okay, so you heard it here first. Wuthering Waves copied Genshin Impact. And well, my source for this is some random Genshin Impact player on Twitter who seems to think that Wuthering Waves actually managed to copy Genshin Impact in some way. And they believe this so much that they're actually annoyed about this and making posts over on Twitter, which again is absolutely crazy. And I just wanted to go through a little bit of this and talk about the overall difference between copying, inspiration, and also just having a similar design whenever it comes to these two games. Obviously, if you saw in my previous videos, I've actually talked about the comparison between Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves quite a bit. And obviously I talked about whether it's okay to be comparing the two, which I think it's totally fine. I feel like the two games are competing. I feel like the games in terms of gacha games are some of the most similar games possible. Obviously Wuthering Waves being an open world game and also Genshin Impact being one as well. I feel like the gameplay and style and stuff is the most similar it could possibly be. But what possibly could have Wuthering Waves copied from Genshin Impact which has these people so upset? Well, we're going to be going through all of that right now. But before getting into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe guys to enjoy it, and also go to GameStop, use my code CASA, get 10% off, or even get 21% off at the moment because they've got a new event on. I definitely recommend going over there. They've got a ton of really cool stuff. Check out some of their tubs and different flavors and things because again, all really cool. 21% off. You know, it's only a very, very limited time. I think there's only a couple of days left on it. So go over there, use my code CASA, and yeah, let's get back into the video. So this was the post I actually looked at over on my second channel, which was from Razor Language, who mainly has a pretty big Genshin Impact audience due to, you know, a lot of their content to do with, you know, Genshin Impact. You know, they kind of explain things in Razor terms and everything like that, which obviously created this whole community of different Genshin Impact players. And obviously what Razor actually said here was just realized that wuwa is not even 1 year old yet. Now I said in my last video, you know, they're not even saying anything particularly about Wuthering Waves or how good it is or how bad it is or whatever they think about the game. They didn't even mention what they think about it. They just kind of stated the fact that it was 1 year old. And obviously this person underneath says, yeah, and you have them comparing it 24/7 to Genshin, a game that's nearly 5 years old, which is absolutely crazy because, you know, it doesn't matter how old a game is, especially for a game that has constant updates and constant kind of, I guess you could call it a live service. I don't really know if it like specifically classes as a live service game. I'm pretty sure it does, considering a lot of the kind of updates that it has, but Genshin Impact still has updates to this day. Now if they were comparing Wuthering Waves to a game that maybe was like a couple of years old, hasn't had any updates or anything like that, then I could totally get it, because again, it's not being constantly updated, nothing can be changed about that, and Wuthering Waves, you know, aren't really competing with any company that is trying to update their game to make it better. But the fact is that Genshin Impact has had 5 years, and if anything, it being 5 years old makes this even worse, because obviously, you know, they haven't really done anything in those 5 years, and you know, they still have the ability to update the game and make it better, but they don't do that. And obviously, you know, people are saying, oh well, why are you comparing it? Well, you know, that's exactly the reason why I'm comparing, because it's a 5-year-old game that hasn't managed to improve and hasn't managed to keep that kind of top spot that it's had for many years. So again, that's kind of crazy. And as I said, you know, a lot of people have been on the defensive recently in the Genshin Impact community. This was a point I brought up in my other video of like whenever the Genshin Impact fans were very hostile towards Wuthering Waves fans and players and stuff like that, saying the game's EOS, saying the game's gonna die, saying it's just a Genshin clone, things like that. And then as soon as the game starts doing good, then they start acting like the victim, like, oh, why are you attacking us? You know, why are they constantly comparing it to us? Well, it's because you guys started it in the first place, and you guys actually started, you know, instigating this whole kind of war between the two of them, which is kind of crazy. Now, obviously, we go back to even more replies and stuff. They said, mind you, most of them replied comparing it to Genshin, proving the point and their obsession, which again, whenever you're talking about comparing Genshin and Wuthering Waves, of course, people are going to reply, you know, comparing Genshin to Wuthering Waves. I don't know what you're really expecting there. And then finally, we got this post, which was actually replied to as saying, rules for thee, but not for me. This actually came up in the Gacha Police little community over on Twitter. Now, this was another tweet from someone else saying, they literally copied every single thing from Kokomi at Genshin Impact with some added mummy touch and big boobers. Say Wuthering Waves cooked. Wow, at wuwa community really live in their own world. Don't copy from other games and say it's inspiration. Now, this person is trying to say that Kokomi from Genshin Impact is the same as Cantarella. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not seeing it here. Obviously, they do have some very similar features, like for example, the whole jellyfish stuff and the color design. But in terms of the actual character design itself, they look like two completely different characters. I mean, you know, Kokomi has pink hair, you know, Cantarella has purple hair. I mean, I don't know if I have to state out all the obvious here, but again, you know, one character is much more, I guess, mature looking than the other one, which again is a massive difference. I'm guessing the personality, just looking at it and looking at some of the previous stuff we've seen in the lore and everything like that in the story, they have two completely separate personalities, which are completely different from one another, which honestly just doesn't seem like copying to me. Now, yes, I do understand that, you know, there's some similar factors, for example, like the jellyfish and this like kind of umbrella thing, which I do understand, you know, could be taken inspiration from Mihoyo and things like that, but I really think it is going far to say that they copied, especially whenever Hoyoverse has done far worse. I mean, let's just go have a look. You know, ZCZ and Alchemy Stars. This is on the Alchemy Stars subreddit. Obviously, we saw this happen a couple of years ago whenever ZCZ first released. You know, you got Kaleda right here looking like this character, and we got some other ones as well, which again is kind of crazy. And obviously, this isn't the only game that MiHoYo has done this. Obviously, they did it over in Honkai Star as well. And obviously, if you don't want to believe this one for Xenosaga Zero, because it was more of a fan kind of pointed out thing. Obviously, fans were like, oh, this looks kind of similar. And maybe you think that players or fans or whatever have their own opinions whenever it comes to this kind of stuff. Well, what if you look at the Honkai Star one? This was actually pointed out by NetEase. This is a game company. You know, I'm pretty sure they tried to take some kind of legal action or something against them. At least they called it out over on their social media pages, because this is a full-on company saying that, yeah, you guys copied. You know, this isn't just some player being like, oh, well, they have kind of similar hairstyles or something like that, so I definitely think that they copied. No, this is the fact of a actual full-on company saying, hey guys, you actually copied our work, what the hell? And obviously you can see these similarities are way similar, and this is what you call copying. This is what you call plagiarism. I think this is something that this person over on the tweet needs to understand, is that this is definitely, you know, closer to copying and plagiarism than Kokomi and Cantarella, which is absolutely crazy. Now, obviously, I think a lot of people over in the community don't really understand the difference between copying, inspiration, and the most important one that people kind of miss out is similar design. It's one of the most easiest things to kind of point out, I guess. Obviously, there's the fact of copying. So copying is literally taking it, you know, moving it over to your game and maybe tweaking a couple of things. That's pretty much copying. Then there's inspiration, which is adding things into a character and certain aspects to a character to make them better. For example, Wuwa's done it in the past with a lot of anime, to Carlotta and stuff. Obviously, they went for a little bit more of a Rin kind of thing to do with it. And, you know, there's been many cases of this happening across any medium of game, you know, whether it's gacha games or anything else. You know, inspiration always happens, and it really helps to improve a character and helps to give them that little bit of a solid ground to become a really good personality. And then finally, we got a similar design. Similar design is the one that everyone forgets, okay? It doesn't have to be inspired. It doesn't have to be copied. It just has to look similar. And I think that's what's going on here. I feel like it's more a similar design. I do think it's a little bit inspired from Kokomi. For example, yes, like the jellyfish stuff, like I've been saying throughout this video. But honestly, a large part of it, I think, just comes down to a similar color scheme and stuff like that. Now, if you were to say, you ask me, you know, which character is this most similar to, I wouldn't even say Kokomi. I would say Shorekeeper. I feel like Shorekeeper is actually much closer to Cantarella than Kokomi is. And obviously, a lot of these people, you know, are very Genshin brain, so they're only going to compare it to Genshin Impact characters. But it is funny that, you know, they found one little hint of like, oh, we could probably have them here. We could probably get them here. And they decide to go and try and attack us all. And obviously, you can see here, this got 2,000 views and 8 likes, which means not very many people liked this. You know, a lot of people saw it, but a lot of people did not click like on that post because they knew, ooh, that's a little bit of a stinky take there. And obviously, it's just one of these funny things that's been going on in the community for quite a while, of these Genshin Impact fans just kind of crashing out over Wuthering Waves recently, especially with version 2.0 coming out and a lot of the Cantarella stuff. I think a lot of people are actually clutching at straws here and trying to just find any reason to kind of downplay Wuthering Waves' success, downplay whatever they're doing, because again, they can't stand the fact that Wuthering Waves is just doing better than their Hoyoverse game at the moment. And honestly, me personally, I think it's okay. And I think that, you know, I like a lot of the MiHoYo games. I play a lot of Xenosaga Zero at the moment. I've actually been playing it a lot more recently because I've been very invested into building the characters and stuff. Honkai Star has been in a pretty bad state at the moment, obviously, with a lot of the Customer stuff which has come out recently. And then Genshin Impact, well, it's just Genshin Impact. It's been sat there with a little bit of a filler patch. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it is sad to see, but you know, it doesn't have to end like this. You know, we don't have to have all the players just crashing out over Wuthering Waves players just because their game is dying. But hey, I just thought it was funny to see that these people were actually comparing these two characters. I feel like the actual images they use are very like misleading as well, just due to the overall color scheme. Obviously, they do look similar, but if you were to go into the actual characters, whenever Cantarella does come out, compare cutscenes between Kokomi and Cantarella, you can probably see how different they're going to be. And maybe I'll make a follow-up video talking about that as well. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that, you know, Wuthering Waves copied Genshin Impact, or do you think that, you know, it's just one of these things where, you know, the design is very similar, maybe they took a bit of inspiration, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because, again, they're trying to improve their overall game and take aspects from other games, other kind of mediums, even anime and stuff like that, to make their own game better, which honestly, I think is going to help Wuthering Waves improve a lot in the long term. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go to Game Subs. As I said, use my code Kaza, get 21% off for a limited amount of time, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.